3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Welcome to the Remote Photography Podcast. In this episode, I speak with photographer Lisa Ford about her remote photography experiences. Enjoy the podcast. Hi Lisa, thanks for doing the podcast. If people don't know who you are, can you give a brief introduction about yourself?
Hi, thanks for having me on. My name is Lisa Ford and my Instagram is Lisa Ford Photography. I am a semi-pro. I've been doing photography since I was a child, and mostly my passion is people.
So you're in the unique position that you've done your first remote shoot recently, haven't you?
Yes, that's right. I've just had my cherry popped and had my very first go at doing a remote with Artemis Fauna. She was excellent. Someone really good to have a first go at with. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed it.
And what made you want to give remote shooting a go? Because obviously now we're like 18 months into the pandemic. Why did you not want to try it at the beginning?
You're the reason I had to go. Oh. I've been watching your podcast and it just had not occurred to me at the beginning, to be absolutely honest. I've been working so hard at my day job that I just didn't really have time to think about it. And I hadn't really talked to anyone. I wasn't included in any of the groups about remotes or any of that stuff. So it just wasn't coming into my orbit. But having sort of gotten to know you over the few months, it has been a bit of a revelation. It was like, wow, you can do this. And at first I was skeptical. I was thinking, messing around with somebody else's computer from your house is a bit too hackery for me. But I thought, I saw the sort of stuff you were producing, listened to the podcast, and it was like, do you know what? I'd quite like to have a go at that. So, yeah, it's your fault.
Okay, I'll take all the credit then. So what made you choose Artemis? Was it just the timing, or had you looked and you had like maybe a short list of maybe the first model or photographer you wanted to shoot with?
I did have a little list. I had a list of girls that you have recommended, and I thought, but at the same time, I'd worked with Artemis in person before, so there was already a connection, and I kind of knew her, and I was very comfortable with her from when we worked in person, and there was a rapport, if you like. So I felt like she put an advert out for her latest round of remotes, following on for her Artemis, her trip abroad. So I thought, why not do like a Men in Black parody, but a woman in black kind of thing. So that was where we started. And at the very end, coming towards the end of that section of the shoot, she popped in some vampire teeth. And it was like, oh, that's actually quite good. Let's go with that. So I have got an alien vampire, basically.
And that was the first edit you put out, wasn't it? So
yeah, it was, because it made me laugh.
Yeah.
The shoot that we did at the beginning, that first section where we were kind of getting comfortable with each other and I was getting used to the process, it made me laugh. There was a couple of shots that she did a Star Trek, the Spock hello symbol thing, and it was like, oh my god, yeah, she was so on my wavelength. This is so funny. So yeah, well,
having both
photographs that make me laugh.
Having both worked with her, we know. She said it to me countless times. You point a camera at me, I'm going to give you a silly face. So
yeah, and she really does.
Yeah, she really does. So, like you said, you never done a remote shoot before. So when Artemis came on and showed you how to use the software, did it kind of click, or did it take you like a few shots before you could go, all I'm really doing is changing the settings on software rather than on the back of a camera?
Yeah, I got it really quickly. I'm pretty techie, so anything to do with computers and cameras, I get very fast. So it wasn't a problem with that. It was just this weird sensation of not actually having the camera in your hands. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That weight of it and the feel of the body and you moving, that was unusual. And I will admit, I missed that part of things. It's a bit like a book, isn't it? There's a difference between reading a book, and a Kindle. You miss the smell and the feel of the pages of a real book. It was that feeling. But I still enjoyed it. I had so much fun, and I was pleasingly surprised by how much I enjoyed it. I was not expecting to. I was expecting to go on there and sort of think, oh, that was a bit naff, you know. I just pressed a few buttons and none of it was really me. I didn't do anything, but actually I did.
So was that like after the first handful of shots you both looked at and you saw the results of the issue straight away, so you were like, oh, hold on, this kind of works?
Yeah, the way she likes to work is you do a few shots. So we did about 10 different poses, and then she turned it onto Bridge and she said, we'll look through and we'll see what we're getting and if there's anything you want to change or tweak or redo. And it was just lovely. All these pictures just popped up on Bridge and I could see what you were creating, and already straight away I knew this is going to be special. I really liked that, and I really liked the brevity of what you're doing, because you don't waste any shot, you know, unless there's a misfire of the camera or a blink at the wrong moment. There's nothing wasted. Every single image I got from that shoot is usable.
I was going to say, is like, did you find, like, obviously, like you said, you missed the camera moving around and being there. Did you find, like, more or less being in one spot, like, limiting, or did you think, oh hold on, let's just be more creative?
That's it, exactly. There was no stopping the creativity. I think in some ways, actually, being on a set and shooting where you've got masses and masses of room can just kind of blow your mind in. There's just too much to concentrate on. You've just got too much to look at, too much to do. With this, there isn't that. Because you're working in a small space, you've got to be creative in how you use that space. And that was a different experience. I mean, it's the same thing in a studio in some ways, that you've got a small space and you're working with that space. But this was different, because I knew that we were only going to be able to get portraits 3/4, and there was only a certain amount of side space either side. And that's all we had to work with. So you do try harder to make every picture look different.
And how, because Artemis has got a Sony camera, so did you find that easy that once she showed you how to do it, it was like, okay, I get this, and you were like off to the races straight away?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have any problems with the controls. Controls were nice and easy. There is a lag between the moment that you focus and the moment that you click. So there's times where I can see her moving on the zoom, but at the same time, the camera's only just clicked. So I'm thinking, am I going to get blur? Because it feels like she moved before the click happened. But actually, that's just the lag in the internet. And the clicks happened at her end, and she's moving to the next pose. So the pictures were pin sharp. I will have to say, I'm a bit of a Sony convert now. I've never touched one. Never been near one.
But now you're thinking like, oh, hold on.
Oh, the pictures are amazing. I was like, oh my, they make my little Canon 7D look like a tinker toy.
Yeah, but the camera's only a tool, so like even like, because I know you did like a recent in-person shoot, and the images came out awesome. So it's really just like the camera's just a tool, but again, now you're using software and the internet to do the same process, but over someone in a different country or a different place.
I think part of it is also that my camera is a little bit on the older side, so you know it's not got the higher resolution that her camera had. So and also we were working closer, so you know there's a lot more sharpness to it. But yeah, they are pretty pictures. I am very happy with them, but nothing's going to make me give up my baby. My city is still my baby, so.
But you might just get an additional camera,
Well, you know,
Christmas is coming up,
Oh yeah, please! Like I've got anyone who's going to buy me a Sony A7 III. Oh please, anybody out there, if you want to, Lisa will have it.
Here's the website address for the email.
Exactly. Here's my GoFundMe.
After you'd done the shoot, was it like, oh, I've done it now and cool, now I can say if I like it or not, or were you more like, oh, I've suddenly got the bug, I have to book more?
I got the bug. I'm definitely going to book more. I mean, I usually kind of wind down about sort of November time and stop doing location shoots and stuff because the weather's crap and you can't really guarantee what you're going to get out there. So I always kind of wind down. So I try and get all of my fun stuff in during the summertime and the autumn and spring. And then I'm a bit like a bear. I hole up over winter and just edit and enjoy. And that's what gets me through the winter months and then back to shooting again in sort of springtime. I mean, the odd one in winter, but because you want some, if you get some snow. But this has opened my eyes. I don't actually have to do that.
So now you can shoot through the winter, but you don't have to leave the comfort of your own home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I can shoot people that are not even in this country and still get pictures that look like they're sunny or whatever. I can get what I want, but I can just do it from my house in my slippers and my PJs. And yeah, I probably
if probably too much information on that last bit. Yeah.
I promise I am wearing pants. I can't say that.
Okay, probably all the listeners now are like, please, can you? I wish you'd edit that bit out, but yeah, I'm going to leave it in there. Now that you've done it, I know we've kind of talked like on the socials and stuff about this. Is like, is it more like you want to shoot maybe with models that are in the UK, or now, like you say, it's kind of broadening your horizons that maybe you want to shoot with models in the US or like Australia or New Zealand or something like that?
I definitely want to do some abroad models. I really like the Sinopa's setup.
Yeah.
So I really would like to do a session with Sinopa at some point, and take advantage of the fact that she has a lovely studio.
Yeah.
So I'd like to shoot with her just so that I can take advantage of the fact that she's got her spaces to shoot in. But I'd really like to do some stuff that's people abroad, places that I'm never going to get to.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm probably never going to get to Russia, but I know there's some fantastic models that are doing, you know, in Russia that are doing shoots remotely. So I'd really like that. So because I think one of the things that gets me is in different countries, the colours that you get in your photos are so different. You know, they're different palettes. We have a very green palette here in the UK, very green and blue. But then if you take pictures of somebody who's in Jamaica, for instance, your palette is going to be very red. Yeah. Because the earth there is red and the colours are reflected. The buildings are very red and the sky's very blue and everything's incredibly green. And I've noticed that in places like Russia, it's a more muted palette. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you've got blues, greens and all that, but the colour is more muted.
But do you find, because obviously you've used the Canon, now you use the Sony, do you find that working on different camera systems is not going to be like something you're going to worry about? So say you shot with another model that's got a Canon system and Canon software, that's not going to be like an aspect that you're going to take into consideration?
No, not at all. No. Not at all. I mean, it's a bit like, you know, buying a different brand of cola is still cola. Yeah. It still does the same thing. It's still a drink. It still goes down your throat. It's the same thing with cameras, you know. Yeah, you might take 15 minutes to kind of get a handle on what the settings are. Mm-hmm. And different camera brands do have different profiles that you have to take into consideration. But everything can be tweaked. Mm-hmm. And I'm very much a case of work with what you get. Yeah. So everything, even if it's different, even if it's harder to use, it's still an adventure.
Well, because it's like me, because obviously me being a Sony shooter, I shot a lot with the models I've shot. A lot of them are like Canon users, and I was looking at the images coming back, and I was like, I kind of like the colours that are coming back from like the 5D Mark III or 4 and stuff like that, and it was like, oh, okay, this is kind of like I said to you, it's just like a tool. It's just that the cameras produce different colour profiles, so it's just that the image is going to be the same. It's just going to be the colour palette you're playing with.
Yeah, and sometimes that gets you out of your comfort zone. Yeah. So, you know, I've been working with Canon for a lot of years. So doing something with somebody else's camera is a bit of an eye-opener, because you're like, wow. I mean, I have Fujis as well. I'm a real Fuji fan. So my Fuji cameras and my Canon camera, even if I take pictures of exactly the same thing, it's a very different look. And that in itself is part of the challenge. Yeah. You know, for me, photography is about challenge. Mm-hmm. It is about challenging myself. It is about challenging, you know, can I get the skin right? Can I really get the look and the glow of skin? Which is why I like people. That's why I'm a people photographer, because I'm all about skin, and it's different. Her skin with her Sony is very different than the pictures that I would have taken with my camera, my Canon, because I've taken pictures of her before.
When you said straight away, when you showed me the pictures, you went, these are really like pin sharp, like, because obviously the resolution was a bit more that you were used to on your camera. So
I could see the difference straight away. But it was also, there's a slight difference in the color casting on there, and it was a refreshing change. But it doesn't mean I don't love the color casting I get with my Canon.
No, because I'm literally looking at your Instagram and I'm looking a bit further back, but like the way you edit, you couldn't tell unless you stay you've shot it on a different camera, that you've shot on different cameras, because obviously there's some shots where you've shot on your Canon, and then there's a couple from Artemis which is on a Sony, and you can't really tell because obviously it's the editing style you use once you've got the images. I'm
a very bright editor. I'm about colour, so you'll very rare get a monochrome out of me because I'm passionate about colour, and I'm not one of these muted photographers. So a lot of people like a very washed out look, and it's one of the reasons why I don't do an awful lot of wedding photography, for instance, because they all like this very airy, washed out colour palette, and it just doesn't suit me. I'm a much more primal colour person. And I think that shows in nearly all of my photography. I always go to the dark side. I always go to the bright side.
Wow, throwing a Star Wars reference in there.
I got it in there, yay! Live long and prosper. There's another one.
So going to the shoot, once you'd picked Artemis to do the shoot, was it her setup that interested you, or was it just a theme, or she just happened to be the one that was advertising remotes and you thought, okay, let's make Artemis the first one I'm going to shoot with?
It was her. It was purely her. It's the fact that I knew her from previously, and that I knew that we could connect on a really creative level. Because
you already broken the ice doing the in-person shoot,
Yeah, exactly. There wasn't going to be any hesitation. There wasn't going to be, any concerns. She knows that the kind of photography I do, and that she wasn't going to be concerned about any dodgy shots or anything like that. She wasn't going to be concerned about it, and neither was I. I knew that she was going to be able to give me what I was looking for, and that if I gave her instructions or directions, she would understand what I was trying to do. Cut out that hesitation that you would get with someone that you don't know.
Well, here's a question I don't think I've asked of anyone else, because you being Artemis a female model and you being a female photographer, did you feel that the model at the other end was more relaxed because it was a female photographer, or did you think Artemis is like a professional, she doesn't mind if it's a female or male photographer, as long as you're doing great images, that's fine?
I think she is such a consummate professional that it wouldn't have mattered. I've seen other images that have come from the couple of days of remotes that she's done, and all of the pictures are awesome. So she is a consummate professional. On the other hand, genuinely, I find that female models tend to be very comfortable with me because, I've got the same parts as them and there's not an agenda. There's no concern that there might be an agenda with me, so they're not worried. And to be honest with you, I quite like that. I quite like being one of the girls on the block when it's such a male-dominated industry. I really like that because it means that I get opportunities to shoot with people who are nervous about other people, and I get to turn around some of their impressions.
Exactly, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that feels good because it means that there are people out there who are very nervous, who I can say, well, you don't need to be, and I can say to them, these are the people that you work with, and if you've got any concerns, you can contact me and I'll give you a frank assessment as to whether or not that person's safe to work with. So that's a nice feeling to be trusted like that.
So now we've covered you've booked the shoot with Artemis. How did you approach getting your ideas over to her? Was it through an email, a mood board?
We were talking on Facebook, and she kind of gave me some ideas of what the space that she was going to shoot is like. And then I did a mood board. So I basically opened up a PowerPoint document and whacked a load of pictures and things from Google of the ideas that I had in my head. And I set up 4 looks, and I thought, maybe if she can do 1 or 2 of those, I'll be happy with that. In the end, we did 4, but we did 2 of my ideas and then tweaked them. So we started off with 1 look and then changed the wig, for instance, and kind of morphed it into a slightly different look. And then she went away and changed into a second look that we talked about, and then we morphed that. So in the end, I think we got about maybe 4 or 5 different looks from exactly the same space. But if they were shown separately, you would think they were separate shoots. Yeah,
because the 2 images at the time you've put up, you couldn't tell that it's literally the same location because she's changed the background, changed the lighting. So you would think, oh, you've gone to it was a different shoot or a different area of the studio, even though it's literally all in the same place.
It was exactly the same spot the whole time. She has got some great lights that change colour. So we changed the colour. I think we changed the colour three times, and then we turned them off and just had white light on the background.
Right.
So we got variant looks. In fact, even one of the outfits and one of the looks is the same look, but because you change the colour palette on the lights, they don't look the same. And I really like that. I actually found getting some of those lights for myself because I think they're brilliant.
So she sold you on the camera now, and she sold you on the lights. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be very
expensive Christmas. Yeah. So now you've done your first one. Like again, we've kind of discussed this on the socials and stuff. Who are you thinking of? Like maybe doing over the winter, booking a remote like a month, or are you just going to do like just focus on the next one and then see how that goes, and then so on and so forth?
I think I'll wing it, but I think maybe one a month is doable. Obviously, I'm not in a particularly highly paid job, so whatever I do is my treat to myself for that month. Yeah. So again, I have to be quite careful with who I pick because I can't afford to spend, £130 on somebody and then get nothing usable out of it. Yeah. That would just be heartbreaking for me because that would be my treat ruined. Yeah. So I will be looking around and I will be checking out other people's profiles, what kind of remotes they've done, what they've got available to do. Yeah. And I will pick people that have kind of good track records at doing it because I want people that are going to get some guaranteed results out of. I don't want to play hit and miss with this. I can't afford to.
Exactly.
Really.
Yeah. Well, I obviously you're in one of the Facebook groups now for the remotes. Have you found putting your stuff up there, you've had some people approach you already, or you find that because it's focused on remotes that the feedback is more like, oh yeah, this is great, rather than say you put it on say like a website like Purple Pool or just on your Facebook feed, that it would be more like everyone who's not really done it just commenting on your photograph?
It's odd actually because my Facebook, for instance, isn't particularly. I have kind of 50% photography people and 50% mad dolly ladies. So I get a lot of feedback in terms of people loving the pictures because they do something different. And, the dolly ladies are fascinated by the fact that I take photos because they see all this glamorous stuff. They're like, wow, love it. It's beautiful. Although I've joined that group, I haven't actually had that many people contact me. I had a couple of people add me as, to sort of look at my profile, I suppose. But no, I haven't had a ton of messages from anyone, which I was a little bit surprised.
Maybe it's they're waiting to see some more edits come out and then they might approach you.
Maybe. We'll soon find out. But at the end of the day, I don't mind. This is all news to me. Yeah. It's all new and it's fun. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just going to enjoy it. Yeah. But it is a bit photography on easy mode, which probably isn't going to be really good for my waistline because one of the major things I love about photography is it gets me out and about and it makes me walk and it makes me socialise and it gets me meeting people and being creative in the fresh air. Yeah. The idea of being able to sit on my fat backside and do it from my own home is a bit of a dangerous one.
But like you said, during the winter, like say the 4 or 5 months when it's dark and cold and snowing and raining, you're literally can go. Say you could go to like New Zealand to shoot maybe Lucy Art Model. You could go to the States to shoot Sam Matthias. You could go literally like down the road, like you said, to shoot with Sinopa or Ivory Flame or someone like that. So you literally have options now that.
So many choices. Many choices.
So saying that, do you see remotes as being something that, say, if a model's touring and offered remote, you might book on to that because obviously she might be able to offer like different rather
locations.
Than being at home. Yeah, exactly. Different locations, different styles and stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, do you know, I'm thinking to myself that if people are clever about this, and they're doing their tours, you could have them sort of setting up in gardens or whatever, or stately homes or wherever they are, and even if they're doing a tour day there and they've got people coming in person, they can do an evening, couple of hours remotes in the same place, get completely different looks for people that can't attend.
Yeah, because I've even seen some event start to slowly bring it in just to test the water to see if it could work. And obviously you can get people that maybe can't travel because of some of the restrictions, or be it there's a disability or health reason that they can't make it to the location.
I would really love actually to think about doing, because I really love doing big dresses in big properties, you know, sort of really sort of painterly style looks, very fashiony or whatever, and very styled. And I want to do some more of that for myself. So in order to make that actually make money, it would to be able to offset the costs of what I'm doing, being able to offer remotes to other people of those looks, I think is definitely something I'm thinking about, especially as Everly, Rose Model and I work quite closely together on ideas. I think that's something that she and I could possibly look at doing together, because we both have some fantastic ideas about, you know, the kind of styled shoots that we'd like to do. But they're costly. You put a lot of investment in terms of dresses and wigs and, you know, set dressing into that. So if you could set that by letting other people remotely shoot it, that's a good way of it not breaking us financially.
Yeah, because you're not limited to, like, if people are, like, close to buy or they drive for a couple of hours. Now you literally got the potentially everyone in the world to book onto it who does photography. Exactly.
I mean, and to me, you know, that's a way forward. That is a way forward. I don't actually think that this, whilst the pandemic is possibly over, we are going to be in an endemic. You know, we are going to have to learn to live with this. And I think a lot of what we do now has got to change permanently. You know, things like travel, etc., has got to change, especially when you think about things that have the climate change and the way we live has to change in order to help the world, you know, improve and to try and rescue ourselves from, you know, eventual destruction. So this is a way of doing that. You don't need to get on a plane and travel all the way to America to do a shoot. You can shoot America from your front room.
That's one way to put it. Cheers, Lisa, for doing the podcast. If people want to find your work online, where can they find you?
They can find me on Facebook. I have Lisa Ford Photography, and I also have Lisa Ford Photographer on Instagram, and I'm very easy to find. So you can just hit me up with a message if you fancy doing a shoot. I'm open.
I look forward to seeing results from your next remote, because I guess there's going to be another one soon. And that's it. Yeah, I can't think of anything more. Hi, Lisa. Thanks for doing the podcast. If people don't know who you are, can you give yourself... Oh, son of a bleep.
Oh, my God, I've just forgotten her name.
Artemis Fauna. Cheers, Lisa, for doing the podcast. If people... say that again, John. Might want to rephrase that.
No, not really.